Guys, welcome. So I'm going to be checking out Hoid's Storybook Collection number 2. This is The Girl Who Looked Up. The first one was great, just an introduction to what these little stories are going to be like. Big fan of the Cosmere. I'm still working through The Way of Kings. I've just got up to part 3 in that book. So I think, well, I'm literally at the halfway point. So it's a big book. I take a long time to read. I usually get into bed about 10:30 at night, crack open my Kindle and read for about an hour before my eyes are closing and I cannot go on. Usually knock out 2-3 chapters if I'm really lucky, but I really am reading too late at night. It's just, working and then editing and YouTube. That's my only real kind of downtime with my books. So loving it. It's very freaking cool. There's a lot ahead of me, but yeah, I'm so appreciative that I've kind of joined the Sanderson bandwagon just as all this stuff's kind of becoming more mainstream, like with Apple TV getting Mistborn as a movie and the Stormlight Archives as a series. Well, he's still negotiating, so things could change, but Apple is definitely going to throw him some money. And then these little storybook collections turn up on YouTube, so I'm like, oh, it's kismet. So let's check it out. Let's go. Hey guys, so check out my Patreon, link down below with all my socials, so come say hi, don't forget like and subscribe. Oh, we got a jaunty tune. Here they are. Hoid. And the other one. I haven't got her name. Their name. Yet.
Yes, I think
the girl,
it's a perfect place to start.
The Girl Who Looked Up.
Today I will show you a very special story.
That'll be a nice change.
Change is precisely the point.
Wow, look at that. That looks cool.
Welcome
to
Sanderson Storytime.
Cool.
I'm going to read you The Girl Who Looked Up, one of the books from the Hoid Storybook campaign that is our current crowdfunding campaign.
Nice.
The art is not all final yet, so we're going to show some pieces to you, but each of these pages will be illustrated in the final edition. So for most of this, you're just going to have to listen to me and picture the pictures that will go with it.
I thought it was going to be an animated story, but we got him here reading.
Cool. Art by Alexis and Justin Hernandez. Words by Brandon Sanderson.
Not what I expected. This is amazing. Look at this.
There was a girl. This was before storms, before memories, and before legends. But there was still a girl. She wore a long scarf to blow in the wind.
I love his writing.
The girl in the scarf played and danced as girls do today. In fact, most things were the same as they are today, except for one big difference. The wall.
The wall.
You see, in those days, a wall kept out the storms. It had existed for so long, nobody knew how it had been built.
The high storms.
That did not bother them. Why wonder when the mountains began or why the sky was high? Like these things were, so the wall was. The girl, though, she was curious when others were not. Why is there a wall? She asked the man selling fruit. To keep the bad things out, he replied. What bad things? Very bad things. There's a wall. Do not go beyond it, or you shall die.
Holy shit. Okay.
Why is there a wall?
Why is there a
She
wall?
asked the woman tending her child. To protect us, the woman said. To protect us from what?
Nobody knows.
Very bad things. There's a wall. Do not go beyond it, or you shall die.
That's all they know.
Tree, peeking out the top, her scarf streaming behind her. Why is there a wall? She called to the boy sleeping lazily in the nook of a branch. What wall?
What wall?
The boy asked. The girl thrust her finger pointedly toward the wall. That's not a wall, the boy said drowsily. That's just the way the sky is over there. It's a wall, the girl said. A giant wall. It must be there for a purpose, the boy said. Yes, it is a wall. Don't go beyond it, or you'll probably die. Well, these answers did not satisfy the girl who looked up. She reasoned to herself, if the wall kept evil things out, then the space on this side of it should be safe. So, one night while the village slept, she sneaked from her home with a bundle of supplies. She walked toward the wall, and indeed, the land was safe.
But
It was also dark, always in the shadow of the wall. No sunlight ever directly reached the people. The girl traveled far. No predators hunted her, and no storms assaulted her. The only wind was the pleasant one that played with her scarf, and the only creatures she saw were the kremlings that clicked at her as she walked.
I love his
At long
words.
last, the girl in the scarf stood before the wall. It was truly expansive, running as far as she could see in either direction, and its height. It reached almost to the Tranquiline halls.
The art is amazing.
Of course, she didn't turn back. She climbed. There were outcroppings in the wall and strange statues to use as handholds. She had climbed the highest trees all through her youth. She could do this. As the girl climbed, she remembered a story she'd been told of a woman told to never open a certain door. That woman could not contain her curiosity, however, and eventually cracked the door to open to peek, letting out demons who brought pain, sickness, and grief to the world. The wall was tall, and her climb took days, letting her remember another story. In it, a different woman found a well in the enchanted forest with a sign saying, "Do not drink." Again, the woman was tempted to drink and could not resist. In doing so, she cursed all.
Bloody hell, people are
The
weak.
girl thought of these stories and how they always seem to involve women or girls going against what they've been told
Right.
and causing suffering.
Right? She's climbing the
But
damn
somewhere,
wall.
Someone made up these stories. Somewhere, someone left these cautions. Together, the stories seemed not intended to warn of actual danger, but to teach those who heard them a specific idea. Do not ask questions. Do not disobey. Do not look up.
The girl who looked up.
This is not one of those stories that warns you about being too curious, but neither is it a story telling you to always obey. Sometimes the sign does warn of a poison inside the well. Sometimes a door should remain closed. Sometimes a wall is built to protect. The moral is not to ignore the wisdom of those who have come before. I always say it is not my job as the storyteller to give answers, but to give you questions to think upon. Truth is, that's a lie. My stories are not just about asking you questions. They are about teaching you to ask questions yourself.
Ah, very good.
Why is there a door nobody is supposed to open? And why, if it is so important, is it unlocked?
Right?
Why is there a sign? And who wrote it? For what purpose? Because sometimes that wall exists not to keep people out, but to keep you from looking beyond and from daring to look up. So, that is The Girl Who Looked Up. Hopefully we'll have some of the pictures at the end that kind of explain the story that's going along with it, because the text in this one is really meant to be matched to the pictures. And so that is the story of The Girl Who Looked Up. It's the story that Shalon tells and then Wit tells to her.
Ah, Shalon.
And I've tweaked a little bit to get the meaning across to those who perhaps don't have it the context of the book it was in. I hope you enjoyed.
Wow. Wow, I was not expecting the main man to be here reading us a story. So Shalon tells that story in one of her books. So I met her character. Like I said, I'm reading The Way of Kings, which is part of the Stormlight archive. There's about 5 books in that. So I know of her character, but very early on. So yeah, I'm wondering where this story fits in the greater scheme of things. But like I said, I wasn't expecting Brandon Sanderson to be here reading it to us in a chair, just with his manuscript. I thought it was going to be more of the animation that started in the first episode and at the beginning of this reaction. So that was a really pleasant surprise. I like his words. I like the way he writes. He captures his characters so beautifully and the world they're in. And he's really easy to read, which I find important. He doesn't ramble on too much with unnecessary stuff. Everything is there for a purpose, and it's great. And that was fantastic. I'm looking forward to the third one. Alright guys, catch you then. Thanks for watching.